Silent Clubstep was recently raised on the demon list again. It now sits above Acheron, Avernus, and Anathema. This sparked some discussion around the Geometry Dash community about it being a retrospective top 1. But what does this mean? Well, Silent Clubstep never sat at the number 1 spot on the demon list. After being verified and rated, it was placed at number 4. However, after some new player opinions were accounted for, the level was raised. It ended up being raised above every level it sat beneath during its original placement. This has led some people to claim that it was the real top 1 when it was verified. However, I don't totally agree. I think that there are more factors to consider when we talk about level placements. The idea that Silent Clubstep should have been top 1 implies that the demon list was wrong for placing it where they did, number 4. Just in the sense that they didn't have enough player opinions to make an accurate placement. It also implies that level difficulties are fixed over time. If Silent Clubstep is considered harder than those other levels now, does that mean it's always been more difficult? I say no, and this is the core argument I'm making in this video today. Player skill sets evolve over time, and it's important to consider the role this plays in Silent Clubstep's movements. Let's look at a few other levels that have been raised multiple times on the demon list, because this isn't an isolated incident. Super Probably level is likely the most famous example of this. In its 4 years on the list, it was raised 7 times, moving up a total of 108 spots. People certainly took notice of this, as it was frequently memed by the community. Another example of this is Congregation, which moved up 5 times, a total of 42 spots. Now there is one instance of it moving down, but this was due to the level being made easier with Update 2.2's physics changes. So what does Congregation have in common with Super Probably level? The levels seem very different theming wise. I mean, you have one silly memory level and one tense atmospheric level, but there is a fundamental aspect of the gameplay that links them. They both heavily draw their difficulty from timings, specifically timings from reset points. These levels would place very low on a scale ranking how skill-based levels are. They also both have an aspect that requires some patience from the player, an aspect that can't just be pushed past and ignored with raw skill. Super Probably level is very memory intensive and Congregation is quite long. So is it timings and patience? Let's look at another level that has been raised multiple times on the demon list, Neon Skyline. It has been raised 5 times, totaling 72 spots. And yes, just like the other two, it's very timing intensive. Many players seem to really struggle with some of the choke points, which, as you might be able to guess, are all timings from reset points. Now, I personally didn't mind the choke points, but that kind of gameplay is very tailored to my skill set. So we've established a pattern of timing intensive levels being raised on the list over time. But why does this happen? Well, as I mentioned before, they're less skill-based, but I'd like to further explore what that means. The difficulty of these levels stems greatly from reset point timings. For those who don't know yet, a reset point is an instance in a level where your icon's trajectory is made consistent every attempt, usually from landing on a block. This means you reach the next input the exact same way every time. Any input like this I call a reset point timing. These timings are less skill-based because you're using less intuition of the game's physics when you perform them. You're often using a visual cue, but they take time to develop. If a player is skilled enough to sight read this input a few times, they won't feel the need to identify and develop a visual cue for it. This is why the first clicking Neon Skylines drop is considered a choke point by many players who are better than me, while I didn't struggle as much. Timings that have your icon approaching it differently each attempt are more skill-based, as the player has to react to the icon's position. As a player improves at the game, their ability to perform more skill-based gameplay will improve faster than their ability to perform less skill-based gameplay. This discrepancy becomes even more drastic when we consider hardware. Not only have players gotten better at the game over the years, they've also found ways to reduce input delay. This also skews benefit towards skill-based gameplay since it demands a faster reaction time. A reset point timing is quite doable on 60 FPS when compared to a really fast wave section. These differences in player skill have evolved a lot over time. So, back to Silent Clubstep. When we look at the hardest parts, we see the exact kind of gameplay that I'm talking about. We have the pre-drop containing some absolutely brutal timings. The dual section towards the middle is also extremely difficult, as is the infamous 8 jumps of hell. The only sections of this level that lean more towards skill-based gameplay are the ships. They're certainly difficult, but not nearly enough to bring this level out of being very timing-focused overall. So, is Silent Clubstep a retrospective top 1? I wouldn't say so, but I also wouldn't confidently say no. The level simply didn't have enough victors early on to determine whether or not it was harder than Slaughterhouse at the time. Slaughterhouse is of course far more skill-based, with difficulty heavily concentrated in the wave sections. When we have 2 levels at the very top of difficulty, it becomes very tricky for the list to determine where they should be placed. There's only a small handful of players skilled enough to attempt them, so certain biases can have stronger influence. With super probability level, congregation, and neon skyline, we can be more confident in identifying the trend since these levels are accessible to more players, giving us more opinions to work with. Overall, it's really up to you if you'd like to consider Silent Clubstep a retrospective top 1. I think it's important to keep in mind that players' skill sets change over time. As time goes on, the average victor of any given level will be more wave-oriented and less timing-oriented. And I hope this video doesn't come across as me invalidating or disparaging any achievements. That is certainly not the goal. For me, the goal is just to discuss things I find interesting. I hope you found it interesting or entertaining as well, but that's all I have for today. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I'll be posting one every Saturday. Follow me on Twitch if you'd like to see me live. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.